Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School. Now, one of the things that we teach when it comes to students and parents and parents who are also students who come into the Black Business School that want to learn how to build wealth, how to pass it to the next generation. One of the key principles that we like to remind people of is the importance of understanding that when it comes to wealth building in the Black community, there is almost nothing that we're going to do right now or in the future that is more important than building wealth and passing these ideas on to our kids. One of the most important things you have to understand about building wealth is that wealth building is an intergenerational game. It's not something where you're going to solve all the world's problems in the next 10 years or even in your lifetime or in my lifetime. I've studied wealth for a very long time. I've been a finance professor for over 20 years. I started teaching. I taught my first finance class at the college level at the age of 22. That was at the University of Kentucky, and then I taught at Indiana University, the Ohio State University, the University of Rochester, and Syracuse University. So I've been around. I've been in this field. I know how money operates. I know how to think about money in different ways, and I know all the formulas. I've studied all the financial formulas at the deepest levels. It's a very scary place, believe me. And one of the things that I really believe is that there are ways that we as a community can do things right now that will guarantee that our kids will be positioned to have an opportunity to be at the top of the food chain in terms of wealth building, Black business development, cooperative economics, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what's that going to have to call for? What's going to have to occur for this to happen? Well, the first thing is we've got to do some things about culture. We've got to shift culture. You see, the culture that you have in your household, there's a good chance it was fed to you by somebody else. White folks built all of that, right? The media, all of this came from descendants of our oppressors. I'm not afraid to talk about white folks in the class. Not that we're going to talk about them badly, but we got to bring that up. You cannot talk about the experience of Black people in America without talking about what we've gone through, what we've had to overcome, and the problems we have to solve, and the social viruses in our communities and in our families that have to be inoculated, that have to be dealt with, right? So a lot of what we think of as Black culture is really culture that was fed to us by educational systems and media outlets that did not belong to us, right? That's the first thing we got to understand. So what does that mean? That means that we have to isolate this virus, and some of it is like a virus. Some of it is not healthy. For example, if you look at music, you look at maybe hip hop, in the 90s and the 2000s, a lot of that music taught young Black men to see themselves in ways that were not always accurate. You're not supposed to. You weren't born to be a thug. You weren't born to be in the strip club throwing money in the air. You weren't born to go shoot other Black men. You weren't born to go to prison. But there's culture that's built around that. In fact, there's also a lot of culture that trains young Black boys to be athletes at an early age. Athletes are entertainers. We're trained to be the class clowns, and nobody calls the class clown when it's time to do serious work. When important industries are being built, they don't call the class clown to do that. They call serious people. When you're talking about doing important things like doing important work in the White House, or getting people to the moon, or building driverless cars like Google, you don't call the class clown for that. You call the serious people. I want our children to be among the serious people. So I'm going to give you a very quick model that I designed myself. I come up with all kinds of models for Black people. And they're all mine. They're things I think about just when I'm always thinking about our problems and how we can solve them. And here's a model that I truly believe, if you apply this model with your child at an early age, your child will be a millionaire by the age of 40. It's what I call the KID model, KID. The KID, the word KID, the K stands for knowledge. I stands for investment. D stands for discipline. Knowledge, investment, and discipline. Now, what does that mean? Knowledge. Knowledge means that every Black child in America should have a basic understanding of financial literacy and business development at an early age. They should learn the fundamentals of starting their own business before they learn how to dance, before they learn how to rap, before they learn how to dribble a basketball, throw a football, or do any of these things that we think that we were born to do. They should understand entrepreneurship very early in that game. They should know the difference between a producer and a consumer. They should know what an investment is. They should know what a loan is. They should know what it means to save and invest as opposed to spending and borrowing and consuming. They should know these things. And in fact, in our Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program, we actually teach a lot of this. BlackMillionairesOfTomorrow.com. So that's the first thing. So knowledge. You plant financial literacy, basic entrepreneurial knowledge, basic financial knowledge into the head of your child at an early age. They carry that for the rest of their life. That's the first thing. So that's the K. The I stands for investment. Here's where your kid gets ahead of the game. Here's where your child gets to be a millionaire before the age of 40. When that child comes into this earth, when that child is born, you bring the baby into the world with a gift. Here is the gift. The gift should be a share of stock. Their first share of stock should be purchased on the day that they are born or a week before that. And for the rest of their life, every time there's a birthday, every time there's a Christmas, every time there's any kind of holiday, you buy them a couple of shares of stock. And really, if you want to be good at it, buy them several shares of stock every month. Share of stock doesn't cost more than a pair of shoes. Most shares of stock cost less than $100. A few cost a little more, but all of them are affordable. We see our kids lining up to buy Air Jordans down at the corner. We see them buying Gucci and Prada and all these other European brands for companies that don't give black people jobs. But we don't see ourselves lining up to buy shares and ownership in companies where the ownership is going to grow. Now, here's where the math gets beautiful. You see, if you do that consistently over 30 or 40 year period, you're talking about how a person of very modest income levels investing, let's say, $25 a week, which most of us can afford because most of us spend $25 a week on some kind of nonsense. If you go to McDonald's every other day, if you go to the movies every now and then, if you go to the club, oh Lord, the club will take all your money, right? So we have if you do any of these things, you're going to blow through that kind of money very quickly. So even if a person did $25 a week for their child from the time that they're born, then by the time that child is 30 or 40 years old, they would have a couple $100,000 to work with, $250,000, something like that. Now, if you're really ambitious and you invest, say, $200, $300, $400 a month in the child, your child's going to be just fine. And what that means is that investment means that they're going to have resources to work with. You see, we have a lot of people that have a lot of knowledge and a lot of know-how, but no resources. They don't have any money. They don't have any money that they need to do what they got to do, right? So you have a great business idea. You're the next Mark Zuckerberg. You've come up with an idea that's better than Facebook. Facebook is worth $1/3 trillion, $1/3 trillion, and you can't even get started because you can't get $10,000 to start the business. Think about that. In fact, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg's first loan to start Facebook was about $1,000. So, imagine if your child has these great ideas, all this knowledge that they've applied. They know everything about how to start a business. They've been through the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program, and they then have capital to work with. That's a game changer. They're then able to go and create businesses on their own. They're able to invest in their friends' ideas. They're thinking like an investor. They're not even thinking for 1 second about being an employee. That part is out the window now because they can shape their own destiny. They don't have to sort of be dragged and pulled in different directions by people who are holding little financial carrots over their head because they've got some wealth. Why? Because when you brought that child into this world, you started that baby off with a share of stock. And then you bought another one and another one and another one. And you did that every year, every few months or every month on a regular basis until the child's 30, 40 years old. Mathematically speaking, based on the history of the stock market, a parent who does it to the tune of, say, $100 or $200 a month religiously, that child will have several $100,000 in the bank or in assets by the time they hit the age of 30 or 40 years old. There's a good chance they'll be a millionaire, especially if they've invested some of that money in building their own business. Here's the third part of the KID model. The K stands for knowledge. The I stands for investment. The D stands for discipline. Discipline. You see, knowledge and resources mean nothing if you don't have the discipline to apply it. It's like somebody who is a health expert who knows what to eat. They know what exercises to do. And they've got a gym membership, so they got access to a gym, but they don't have the discipline to go to the gym. None of that matters if they don't have the discipline. So as a parent, what you do is you raise your child to have discipline when it comes to making financial choices. You maybe give them rewards for saving money, right? When you have them save money, you do little things where you tell them, hey, if you save up $100, I'll give you another 30, right? Or if you invest 200 of your money, I'll match whatever you invest in yourself. Or if you want money from me, you're not going to get it from me because I don't do charity, but I make investments. So if you want money from me, then go do some work for the money. You teach the child at an early age that anybody who gets money from you, anybody who gets resources should be expected to give something for what they're expecting to receive. That creates a connection between work and reward. Your child must be taught to work hard. Your child must be taught to have a vision. Your child must be taught to have the ability, most importantly, to delay gratification. There's a study, and I'll tell you this and then I'm going to let you go. There's a study that showed that where they had these kids, these 5-year-olds, and they gave them a marshmallow, and they said, if you can wait 10 minutes before you eat that marshmallow, we'll give you 2 marshmallows. So that's delayed gratification. Can you delay your gratification for 10 or 15 minutes, and then you'll get 2 marshmallows? But if you want, you can eat it now. Well, did you know that among the kids who ate the marshmallow quickly and didn't delay, when they tracked these kids through life, the kids who waited, the kids who had the patience, the kids who delayed gratification were far more successful in every area of life than the kids who ate the marshmallow fast. The kids whose parents had raised them in an environment where you just get it now, you do it now, those kids ended up suffering throughout life because they didn't have the ability to be patient and to make investments in their future. They didn't think like investors. They thought like consumers. Consumers just gobble up stuff. They just live for the here and now. Can't do that, right? So that's where the discipline comes into play. If you apply the kid model, knowledge, investment, and discipline, then your child will probably be a millionaire by the age of 40. And when I say millionaire, what's the definition of millionaire? It's someone who has at least $1 million in assets. Because a disciplined person is going to avoid debt. They're going to think like an investor. They're going to build their wealth by working hard to develop things and build things. They've got knowledge, so they're not thinking about going to be somebody's employee. They're thinking about being an owner, and they've got resources. You've already set them up with $250,000 to begin with, and any decently intelligent person that makes good investments in the black community can easily turn $250,000 into $1 million. It's not that hard to do. I've done it. All right. So there you go. Now, if you want to know more about educating your child on these concepts, you can visit blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's our wealth building program for children. I hope you'll check it out. But in general, when you want your child to be ahead of the game, you are the one who does that. You are the first teacher of that child. The school system does not educate your child. They are not responsible for educating your child. You are the one who gives your child what they need to be successful. I will help you. You're here with me. Let me help you. Let me support you. This is something you can do. This is what we can build for the next generation. This is what's going to make black people great. I'm absolutely convinced of it. All right. Well, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School. Please take care. God bless. I'm gone. Peace.